When a DIFC foundation is considered as part of a serious asset protection or succession plan, the focus is usually on how the structure works and what it is required to set up properly. That is indeed an important question, but it is only part of the equation. A DIFC foundation is not a one-time expense. It is a living legal structure that needs to be maintained properly year after year. If you only focus on the setup cost and ignore the ongoing cost, you may end up with a structure that looks good on paper but becomes difficult or expensive to manage over time. So in this video, I'll start by briefly explaining the setup cost of a DIFC foundation so you understand the entry point, and then I will also walk you through the annual renewal costs you should expect every year once the foundation is active. These includes different government and compliance fee, professional support, legal support, as well as an office space requirement. By the end of this video, you will have a clear view of both the initial and the long-term cost, so you can plan realistically from the day one. Before we start, my name is Shiraz Waheed and I'm the founder at Levitas Wealth, where we help our clients with asset protection and succession planning. And if you would like our help doing the same, you can request a free and customized asset protection plan by clicking the link in the description below. Many families, business owners and advisors are surprised to learn that the cost of a DIFC foundation is not a single fixed number. There is no universal price that applies to everyone. The total cost depends on how the foundation is structured, who sits on the council, and how much professional oversight is required, and as well as how complex the assets and the beneficiaries are. Understanding this early helps you avoid frustration later and ensure the structure remains sustainable over the long term. Dubai's regulatory environment is designed to be clear, structured and internationally respected. DIFC foundations are not offshore secrecy vehicle. They are regulated legal entities that sit within a recognized financial center. All core fee and requirements are defined, but they are not always explained clearly by the service providers. This is why it is important to look beyond the marketing numbers and understand what you should realistically budget for each year. Now, let's start with the mandatory government and regulatory cost charged by the DIFC. A DIFC foundation is subject to an annual operating license fee. This fee is currently set at $350 and it is payable upon registration and then annually to keep the foundation active within the DIFC. In addition, DIFC requires a data protection notification. This is a one-time regulatory filing with a fee of $750 payable when the foundation is set up. After that, there is an ongoing data protection renewal fee of $750 per year. This applies annually and reflects the DIFC's data protection and privacy framework, which all registered entities must comply with. Now, these are the statutory DIFC charges. They are fixed, relatively modest, and apply regardless of the size of the foundation or the value of the assets held. In addition to the government fee, every DIFC foundation must maintain a registered office within the DIFC. This cannot be a virtual address or a mailbox. It must be a physical registered office address within the financial center. In practice, most foundations use a licensed corporate service provider for this purpose, something that we can also provide at Levitas Wealth. The annual cost for a registered office typically ranges from $2,000 to $3,000. The difference in pricing usually reflects the level of support provided. Some providers offer only the address itself, while others include document handling, liaison with the DIFC, and administrative support as part of the package. When comparing providers, it is important to understand what is included rather than focusing only on the headline price. A DIFC foundation must also appoint a compliance officer. This is a key requirement and not just an administrative formality. The compliance office is responsible for ensuring that the foundation meets the ongoing regulatory obligations. This includes maintaining records, managing filings, and responding to regulatory queries, as well as coordinating updates when changes occur in the foundation. In most cases, the compliance office is provided by the same firm that supplies the registered office address. The annual cost of compliance office services typically falls between $1,500 and $2,500, depending on the complexity of the foundation and the level of ongoing involvement required. Foundations with multiple beneficiaries, cross-border elements, or high-risk assets may fall towards the upper end of this range. Now, governance is a major component of the annual cost. A DIFC foundation must have at least 2 council members. These council members are responsible for overseeing the foundation, making the decision in line with its charter, and ensuring that the foundation acts in the interest of its beneficiaries. In some cases, the founder or trusted family members may act as council members. In many professional structures, however, at least one or two professional council members are appointed through a licensed firm. Professional council members provide independence, continuity, and credibility, especially when dealing with banks, counterparties, or future succession events. When professional council members are appointed, annual cost typically starts from $4,000 to $5,000. This can increase depending on the level of involvement required, the complexity of the assets, and the risk profile of the foundation. While this is one of the larger annual costs, it is also one of the most important, as strong governance is what gives the foundation the long-term resilience. Ongoing compliance and KYC reviews are another recurring cost. Service providers in Dubai are required to periodically review client information to ensure that the records remain accurate and up to date. This can include verification of passports, beneficiary details, source of funds, and supporting documentation. Annual compliance review costs typically range from $800 to $1,200. While this process may feel repetitive, it's essential for keeping the foundation fully operational and bankable. Delays or failure in compliance review can create serious issues, including restrictions on transactions or difficulties when changes are required. Some DIFC foundations may also require an annual audit or financial review. While audits are not mandatory for most private foundations, they may be required in certain situations. This can include cases when the foundation holds specific type of assets, interacts with regulatory counterparties, or has internal governance policies that requires audited accounts. When an audit is required, costs typically start between $2,000 and $3,000 per year and increase with complexity. Many simpler holding foundations do not require audit every year, but it is still important to understand that this cost may come depending on how the structure evolves. In addition to these core costs, there may be occasional legal or advisory expenses. Legal advice may be required for the succession planning, governance updates, or cross-border considerations when beneficiaries are based in other jurisdictions. Many clients choose to keep a modest annual allowance for legal advice rather than being caught unprepared when changes are needed. When you put all these elements together, a professionally structured DIFC foundation with proper governance and full compliance typically has an annual running cost that range between $9,000 to $12,000. This reflects a structure that is designed to operate smoothly, remain compliant, and withstand regulatory and banking scrutiny over the long term. Well, let me remind you that this is still a more economical structure as compared to a trust in Dubai that starts from $20,000 to $30,000. For simpler foundations with limited activity and only essential services, such as a foundation holding passive assets, annual cost can fall between $5,000 to $8,000. These structures are often suitable for straightforward family planning or asset holding, but they still require proper compliance and governance to function correctly. The key point is to understand that a DIFC foundation should be viewed as a long-term planning tool, not a one-off transaction. The annual costs are not just administrative fee. They support governance, compliance, and legal integrity, which is what gives the foundation its strength and credibility over time. And now, if you want us to help you in setting up a DIFC foundation or succession planning in general, you can request your free and customized asset protection plan using the link in the description below. Well, that's it for today, and I will see you in the next video.